Welcome in, gang. Coach, super pumped to have you. So just a few hours removed from getting on a plane to go out of town for the holiday, and Coach realized we do have a little bit of unfinished business here. So Coach's going to clean up. He's got some, we're gonna do some proper like secret society conspiracy stuff. We're going to do like nature conspiracy. We're going to tighten up all of our sports picks, right? So this was the thumbnail Coach made for the last video, but he forgot to include it in the video, which often happens. So definitely always go back and look at old videos, thumbnails. You might catch something Coach meant to throw in there. You know, how weird is it that she said, like, she's talking about death sentence, right? Belichick's girlfriend just happens to use the term death sentence when Jordan Hudson's on SMU, right? Like, that's just too on the nose. So, update on the odds. Coach said it was like 4 million to 1 or something like that. The three-leg coach is proposing SMU winning the national championship. Sixers beating the Nuggets, and the Lions beating the Browns in the Super Bowl. That three-leg is actually 473.5 million to 1, so like just a hair under $500 million to 1, basically. So that's what we're talking about here. We're gonna talk about the clan first. Real basic stuff, like, so they call themselves like wizards, grand wizards. They got like goblins, all sorts of weird shit, right? So Coach says this is just a bunch of warlocks. Like, look, they're talking about realm, grand dragon, right? It definitely looks like some cult shit. And like if you play the movie Dusk, or the game Dusk, it's like very, very supernatural. And like, you know, they go into the forest and burn some shit and stand around in a circle or whatever. Coach says it's like a seance, right? It's interesting, you know, Hood, right? Hood, so Belichick's called the Hood. He was like one of Trump's most famous supporters, right? And Trump's considered like a neo-schmazi, right? And here you got some witches. They got the skull stuff, just like the clan uses in their symbology. They love the skull. So here's interesting. So like, where did they get their bizarre titles or whatever? And says, I'm not sure if this answer counts, but I asked my great-grandfather. And basically he says, it's like the Masons. It's about feeling important. And like, basically they have like a fake out ritual when you start. Like, so they have you like go through some sort of hazing or whatever. And they're like, that was just a joke, right? Well, Coach says it's the old double dupe. Right, and what they're actually doing is like they fake you out, you go along with that thing, and they're like, oh, we're not really about that, but they really are about that times like a billion. Whatever weird ritual you went through, that was just like a baby step towards what they're really into, and there's probably only a couple people in the whole organization that even know what's going on. And, you know, as far as like wearing hoods, right, the freaks come out at night. If they're warlocks, they might have these deformed faces, right, so that would explain the hoods and being in the dark, right. Of course, we had the witches and the warlocks uncursing the Browns. What's going on there? You know what? Coach was going out of order. I'm sorry about that. So let's just start here. Is this even where we're supposed to be? Or are we still not to where? We're still not to where we should be. This is it. Okay, this is where Coach meant to be at the beginning of the video. But that works anyways. So Doug Peterson as offensive coordinator. The Eagles fans are clamoring for this. Why would Doug Peterson may be able to humble himself to take an offensive coordinator job, but even Coach is too egocentric to go take an offensive coordinator job for somewhere that I already led them to a championship as a head coach and feel that my termination was wrongful. I can't imagine that he feels super awesome with how Jeffrey Lurie showed him the door. Right, so Coach says, no way in hell, it's the only place I would be not willing to go. If I'm Doug Peterson, I'd literally coach anywhere else but the Jags or the Eagles. And just thought it was interesting, they got a Crawford covering the Louisville loss that SMU handed them. Of course, Terrence Crawford winning the title over Canelo. Just showing like the playoff picture, we think the Bills, Jags, and Ravens could all choke out of there, so freeing up 3 spots. You know, makes the path a lot easier for the Browns, especially if they're just going to win the division outright. Maybe the Ravens win the division and we do get the last wild card spot or something like that, and the Ravens get knocked out by the Pats or the Chiefs or the Broncos, right? There's a lot of teams we know are going multiple rounds. So a team like the Ravens or the Steelers getting in doesn't even matter, right? We're not going to face them. They just get bounced out. In case you... In case you needed to know, the Bills for sure are selling this season. They signed Brandon Cooks, who, if you remember, got absolutely fucking cooked in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. So just to remind you about the Tom Brady Foles thing, they signed this bum. So here's some of the the slips coach got in. Lions to beat Browns and Sixers to beat Nuggets. A two-leg, $1.82 to max out, 1.7 mil. Not bad, right? This must be... Oh, okay. I see. I was like... I actually realized when I went to do a lot of this stuff, I was like, I actually already have, like, all the SMU shit in. So, like, I ended up having to switch it up a little bit. Here's one where I threw Oklahoma in there with 50 cents for $500,000, because why not? There's one with SMU, 50 cents, $500,000. Oh, yeah, I was going to take all the teams we like that are ranked. I wanted to do Georgia Tech, too, but for some reason they wouldn't let me. So, SMU, Browns, Nuggets, 50 cents, $900K. SMU, Lions, Sixers to beat Nuggets, 50 cents, about $400K. SMU, Lions, Sixers over Nuggets, 50 cents, wins $125,000. And they closed it, so I couldn't bet anymore, and coach was bored anyway. So I think we just went on from there. But let's see. So there's the Destin thing. So here we got the, like, I can't believe coach didn't predict this. It's not like we're surprised by it, but I can't believe I didn't think to say it. Right? Pickens having more receiving yards than the entire Steelers receiving core, of course that's what's going to happen. That makes way too much sense. This is interesting. Bermuda grass, they call it like the devil's grass or whatever. Of course, we know smoke, they call it like the devil's lettuce or whatever. They're always yelling at you to go touch grass. Coach thinks that, like, that's one of the most nefarious, like, mind fucks they're doing. There's no way grass is good. It's everywhere. They put it on their stupid golf courses. They make sure it's on everybody's lawn. It's probably soaking up all the shit that, like, stuff we need would actually be growing or you know, whatever it is, it's covering something up. Grass is covering something up, coach says for sure. And that's why they make such a big deal about the artificial turf. Like, of course, they love, you know, like synthetic. Think synthetic, sin, right? So they love artificial shit. So, like, a fake version of something that's already bullshit, like fake grass, is right up their alley. So, we already talked about the Klan. Okay, here we go, right there. Coach forgot to bring up Emmanuel Clase when we were talking about, like, Emmanuel Acho and Emmanuel, the actress from Garland, Texas. Of course, Clase fits right in there as our guardian that got suspended or basically going to get thrown in prison. Jimmy Cliff passed away. Coach saw him in concert a while back and was blown away. That's definitely a big loss for the reggae community. Coach's instant thought was Cliff, maybe Cliff from Cheers. Days are numbered. He is 78. After all, born April 6th. That's our Brownies number. Okay, so he, and you know what? Years active, 52 years. I don't even give him to the end of 2025. We're talking November, December. This guy's going down if he's going down. That's coach's take for sure. And then Niners fans mad that they're not blowing the team out. That's good considering they're going to the Browns. We'd love a letdown game. Eagles safety, injured bad. Russell Wilson being a clown, going out for the overtime coin toss, even though he's not the starting quarterback. He did win the toss and show Goff up. Of course, Goff's a big fucking loser. There's definitely some sort of Goff-Wilson ritual there that I'm missing, I'm sure. But, of course, interesting, you know, Winston gets the start. Well, we know Winston is Jamal Williams of the Lions, so the Lions come to town. Of course, Jameis Winston's going to start. Why wouldn't they do some stupid shit like that? I wonder if Williams played or if he did good on the other side. That'd be interesting. But, so, Coach called Russell Wilson going down bad, like, for real. Okay, and it's frustrating for Coach because his buddy was completely ass backwards about it. He just would not listen to how shitty fucking Russell Wilson is. And Coach attributes him to his friend being too white, right? I was like, have you, like, never talked to a black person? Like, they hate Russell Wilson right now, right? Like, ever since he started dating Sierra, like, I would just hear whispers. I can't even tell you, like, exactly what's going down. It was never good about Russell. It was always like he's a cuck, right? Or something, and Sierra's just, like, walking all over him and making him look like a fucking idiot. And, like, he's trying to be the bad boy, but, you know, Russell can't pull that off. He's a dork, right? Nobody wants a bad boy, wants Russell Wilson. So it just didn't work at all. But Coach said, like, you really think, like, the Broncos spent all that money to get rid of him? Like, this is when he was going to Steelers. They spent all that money to get rid of him, all that sort of stuff, and he's just going to, like, blow up on the Steelers, a team that, you know, beat him in the Super Bowl. Like, what the hell's what Steelers fan was like, oh, God, I'm so impressed by Russell Wilson. I want him over Ben Roethlisberger or whatever. Like, no fucking way. Steelers fans have just been drooling over the prospect of Russell this whole time. Like, yeah, he does fit the milquetoast boring ass vibe of a Tomlin team, but not a Tomlin like Super Bowl team, right? Like nobody wants to buy that shit. Nobody's gonna run out and buy Russell Wilson Steelers jerseys. It's fucking stupid, right? So coach knew that was horseshit. Definitely knew it wasn't gonna work on the Giants. But the coach had a point. Coach knows why everything's going bad for Russell. Russell, and this is one, coach always has a good sense for this one. Because coach can't stand it. He can't fucking stand players that can't play within themselves. And coach's like justification is that like I'm highly skilled, right? I'm highly skilled, and very rarely will I do like anything that's like any more risky than what needs to be done, right? Like I know I'm great. I don't need to prove it by doing some stupid like street ball dumb shit, right? Or whatever. Right, or I don't need to go try to get 100 rebounds when I'm the point guard. I don't need to be a center who dribbles it up the fucking court every time. Like, I know my goddamn role, right? And coach can't stand people that don't know their role and they don't know, like, their place on the team. Like, so Russell has to be the captain, and he has to be treated like a Hall of Famer. And he's just not. He's just absolutely not. He thinks he's Tom Brady. He thinks he's Peyton Manning. And I'm talking about the character, right? We know it's all fake, but coach is telling you he's listened to enough interviews to know what's going on. So check this one out. Coach going to blow one wide open for you that you're going to at least think it's a 50-50 shot I'm right on, and nobody's ever even talked about it. The most controversial play in Super Bowl history. This man is responsible for throwing from the 1 yard line, an interception from the 1 yard line when he could have handed off to Marshawn Lynch. It's never been said, but coach is telling you the call from the sideline was a run up the middle. He fucking audibled that shit and hot dogged it and did the dumbest shit you could possibly fucking imagine. They've never came out and said it, but I attribute it just to like Carroll being classy and like wanting to not burn the bridge with Russell right there, right? It was still his quarterback at the time, right? You probably think you can work through. You're 1 yard away from winning. You think you can probably convince him to hand it off next time. Like, see, you had your chance and you blew it, right? And maybe it was even like he was like, all right, well, here you go. But if you're wrong, we're never doing your dumb shit ever again, right? You're gonna listen to coach from here on out, right? Is what Carroll was saying. But sure enough, after that season, he comes into training camp. He says, this is how we need to mold the offense around Russell, and I'm going to be the Brady, like calling everything. And they just straight up shut it down. They just said, that's just not you, bro. And if we're going to do that, we're going to do it with somebody else. So you got to figure it out. So basically they just got rid of him, let him leave. Right, that's why the Russell and Seattle thing ended unceremoniously. Wasn't anything about like a rebuild or a coaching change. Russell just burned the house down, and he's going to keep doing it everywhere he goes until something major changes, and possibly never will. He might have one little redemption at the end, but he makes me sick. I don't like his character at all. But here we go, Krusty the Clown. Right, reminds coach of Krusty Krab. They both got yellow characters. There's probably some sort of weird connection there. Foles says the issue with the Eagles' offense is Kevin Patullo. So they need to get Kevin fired, just like the Browns need Kevin fired. Shirley Temple, Joel Embiid almost quit basketball because of getting roasted over his obsession with Shirley Temples. He just loves the fruity drink. She served under President Ford and Carter. Okay, there's an Adrian in there. That's who succeeded her. Coach left a lot on the table with the notable people at the other one. I know there was an Adrian and an Adriana like right next to each other. That was kind of weird. But so we got like our Rocky thing there. Of course, Embiid, Philly, Sixers. And then there's a lot more. That wasn't even the good stuff. Oh, in office till 76. In office till 76, years active as a public servant, started in 67. And I don't think there was anything besides that one. She was like the Depression baby, right? 34 to 38. Wait, hold on. I think it was 34 to 38, maybe 44 to 48 if coach is somehow off there. But she was the biggest box office draw, number one draw for 4 straight years. I'm almost positive it was right after the Great Depression. Right, so, Eagles named after FDR. They just win the Super Bowl. Let's see. There's some craziness here in a second. Okay, so it's like $5.25 palindrome. $250 a week. Before that, there was a $25 a week. Did Coach catch that one? There's a 25 a week too. So numbers are just kind of weird with the 25s. Not enough to make Coach go crazy or anything. But then there was one that was just like, whoa. Right here. Iverson Ranch. Iverson Movie Ranch. So Coach got some stuff on that. It might be at the end. So I'm going to have to circle back. But definitely thought that was very interesting. We don't want to spend too much time. What are we at? It's not telling me. Hendon got released. So if I'm the Browns, he's my third stringer for sure. I generally would like an older veteran to help develop, my other two guys. But, if my quarterbacks are Shedeur and Bailey Zappi, I'm picking up Hendon because, if Hendon's just like so much like Shedeur, and it just isn't going to cause any problems, isn't going to bring a big circus, but like all the same upside, right? He seems like the perfect backup. And he's the guy you like base troll offense around anyway, right? So to me, the Browns are crazy if they don't pick him up. But who knows exactly what goes on. There's the Shirley Temple thing Coach was telling you about. Don't forget, Embiid's brother died at 13, so he's got like a big sob story, right? And, he's got like the larger-than-life characters. Man, this drives me fucking nuts. I didn't even see this, dude. So Coach has to tell you this. I don't know if it's a Mandela effect or what, but Coach could have sworn to you for like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for $1 million question, like, yeah, we're going for it, slamming the buzzer. Joel Embiid's first sponsor, Juicy Fruit, somehow does not exist in any form. Right there, Juicy Tidbit, right? Juicy right there. So we'll circle back to the Juicy Fruit thing there, but it was just interesting. They had the Juicy right there. So Jeudy's sister died, right? His sister who died named Aaliyah. Kat, are you listening? His sister died named Aaliyah. Coach told you Jeudy is Deshaun Jackson. Who did you tell me is Aaliyah? Didn't you say it's Michael or Janet or Toya or one of the Jacksons? Right, so that's your assignment. Figure out more on Jeudy's little sister Aaliyah and how it ties in with Deshaun Jackson, Michael Jackson, right? We can probably find some more characters they're doing there. And if Jeudy is Michael Jackson, that changes a lot, right? I'm sure we can figure out some more from there and work with that. So try to help me figure out who Jeudy is. He's probably a Jackson of some sort in the Jackson 5 or, the dad, something. Coach's little bets here. Coach put $10 down on ESPN bet, and they're giving him a hard time. So he ended up just making some stupid bets. And I realized that I don't really like the games this week like I did last week. And the only one I really feel like super good about is Titans beating the Jags and the Browns beating the Niners. And they're giving you 10-1 on that. So Coach threw 5 at it. Like, if they're not going to let me put the bets in, I want anyways. At least it like kind of feels good. And it's like, I realized this should be my app for like immediate betting, like try to get a payroll of some sort, right, in the here and now instead of always doing the long shots. So especially because like they let you bet as little as like 8 cents or 10 cents, right? So let's see. Okay, so coach just went stupid here with a 16 leg. But it's because they let you bet as little as 10 cents, and Coach just wanted to get his picks in. So this is Coach's picks. He doesn't feel really too great about any of them, but except the 2 he told you about. And even then, I feel better about I like both of them. But, yeah, so Lions, Packers. We went Lions. We went Chiefs over Cowboys. Bengals over Ravens. Eagles over Bears. Dolphins over Saints. Rams over Panthers. Colts over Texans. Buccaneers over Cardinals. Titans over Jags, Falcons over Jets, Browns over Niners, Seahawks over Vikings, Bills over Steelers, Chargers over Raiders, Broncos over Commanders, and Patriots over Giants. If I had to switch one, I'd flip the Dolphins. Here's a 2-leg, SMU and the Browns winning the conference for $1 to win over $100,000. This is one where Coach is halfway home with the Dodgers already hitting. We just need the Browns to win the AFC. We'll have a couple $100. Nothing exciting there. Coach was able to track Juicy Fruit back to basketball, which so Embiid, he's sponsored by Jolly Rancher apparently, and his slogan is "Keep on sucking." And of course, he does the crotch chop, the suck it as his celebration. He gets technicals for it all the time, and coach says it's a ritual to show you that they do the suck it thing to you like 100 times a fucking game, because it's just the blocking foul call that a ref makes, right? So, but yeah, in Air Bud, the kid's like, I'm packing Dennis Rodman's juicy fruit, right? It's like supposed to give him special powers, basically. Dennis, of course, Dennis the Menace. Rodman, that makes Rodzilla, makes Coach think of Rod Stewart, who is also a sex symbol. Just way too obvious that he was going to be the type of player that he was. I saw a weird post that's like the phenomenon of Outback Steakhouses forming pentagrams on state maps. I just threw that in there for fun. We did the grass thing already. So I guess we are done. Coach does want to say he likes Georgia Tech to beat Georgia this weekend. So that's Coach's pick there. Of course, he's riding SMU. Coach thinks we're looking at UVA SMU ACC conference final. SMU beats UVA, and Georgia Tech thumps Georgia, skyrocketing in the rankings, earn them a lower seed at large berth, right? Like, I don't think they're going to be one of the top seeds by any means, but they are ranked right now. I think a win over a team as good as Georgia gets you right back in the conversation. I would have a hard time not giving them an at-large bid if I was on the committee. So Coach is officially unsoured on Georgia Tech. I thought they lost the last one was over for them, but now I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I had them beating Georgia here anyway. But now there's like a good reason for it. They might actually get back in the mix. And if they don't get the nomination,